if you run a restaurant, you already know energy isn't just a background expense. It can be the difference between a strong month and a stressful one. This week, we're looking at what's driving higher and more unpredictable utility bills right now, what the latest data is telling us, and what you can actually do about it as we move through the rest of winter and into 2026. Let's start with a big headline in fuels. Natural gas has been on a roller coaster. A major winter system, Winter Storm Fern, pushed heating demand up fast and also disrupted production in some areas. The result was historic. In the week ending January 30th, 2026, working natural gas storage in the lower 48 dropped by 360 billion cubic feet. That's the largest weekly withdrawal ever recorded in the EIA's tracking history. When storage falls that hard, the market reacts, and it did. Natural gas futures surged to nearly $7 per million BTUs on January 27th, the highest level we've seen since late 2022. Now, the expectation is that prices cool off over the coming months, but here's the catch. The day-to-day and week-to-week swings are still very much on the table. More cold snaps, more operational disruptions, and you can see demand spikes and supply tightness show up quickly in pricing. So, why should a restaurant owner care about natural gas futures if you're mostly watching your electric bill? Because gas is still a major input for power generation in many parts of the country. When gas gets expensive, electricity often follows. And that brings us to the second major trend this week. Electricity prices are still moving up. The EIA's outlook is calling for residential electricity prices to rise by almost 4% in 2026. Even though that a residential forecast, the same forces tend to touch commercial customers too. What's behind it? Higher fuel costs, repairs and replacements across aging infrastructure, and rising demand from big power users like data centers and industrial operations. Wholesale day-ahead power prices climb meaningfully in 2025, and the expectation is that the pressure doesn't disappear in 2026. For restaurants, that usually shows up in very practical ways. The base bill creeps up, the supply portion gets more expensive, and if you're in a place where demand charges apply, the peaks can hurt even when total usage doesn't look outrageous. So even if your operations are steady, your bill might not be. The third piece of the puzzle is utility rate hikes, and this one is easy to miss because it's not always tied to changes you made in the building. Regulators approved 43 utility rate increases in 2025, totaling $11.6 billion. Those increases are impacting about 56 million Americans already, and there are 38 more rate requests still pending. If those get approved, the impact could extend to more than 80 million additional customers. Regionally, the South has been hit particularly hard. About $8.4 billion in approved increases affecting roughly 13.9 million customers. And the reasoning utilities give is consistent. Infrastructure that needs work, recovery and resilience costs tied to extreme weather, and the need to meet growing demand. Now, let's translate all of that into what it means inside a restaurant. Energy is one of those expenses that's semi-variable. You got fixed charges that show up just for being connected, and then usage charges tied to how hard your kitchen and HVAC are working. Depending on your footprint, equipment mix, and hours, bills can range from a few $100s a month to several thousand. When gas spikes, power trends upward, and rates get approved higher, it's not hard to end up with a painful jump in total energy costs, sometimes into double-digit percentage increases, and in a low-margin business that can quietly erase profit. So what happens next? Looking ahead, the longer-range view on natural gas is that prices may drift down over the next several years. But in the short term, volatility is likely to stick around. Winter weather is the obvious driver right now, but broader issues also matter. Global events, supply-demand imbalances, and unexpected disruptions. In plain terms, you should plan for swings, even if the average over time is expected to soften. Electricity, on the other hand, is projected to keep trending upward through 2026 and beyond. Between fuel costs, grid investment, and growing demand from new large users, power is likely to remain a steady source of cost pressure for commercial accounts, including restaurants. So, what can you do without turning yourself into an energy trader? The first step is simply recognizing that doing nothing is still a decision, and it's one that leaves you fully exposed when markets move. If you're in a deregulated state or territory, you may have the ability to choose your supplier and shop your electricity and natural gas supply rates instead of just taking whatever lands on your bill. One tool that can help in those markets is a reverse auction approach, where multiple suppliers compete for your business at the same time. GWT2 Energy offers reverse auction bid software designed to make that process transparent and efficient, so you can compare offers, lock in a competitive rate, and time contracts more strategically without spending your week chasing quotes. The practical benefits are straightforward. More competitive pricing because suppliers are bidding against each other, support from people who track market conditions, and a simple procurement process so you can stay focused on food, customers, and staffing. And importantly, it's not just a one-and-done transaction. Ongoing support matters, because a contract that looked good last year may not be the best fit this year, especially in a volatile cycle like we're seeing now. If you want to review your current supply rate, understand whether you're in a deregulated market, or explore whether a reverse auction could reduce your costs, you can reach GWT2 Energy at info@gwt2energy.com. Call 404-919-1464 or visit GWT2Energy.com. As always, keep in mind this kind of market update is informational. Conditions can change quickly, and it's worth getting guidance tailored to your operation and your location. But the big takeaway this week is clear. Volatility is here, rates are rising in many areas, and restaurants that actively manage their energy strategy are in a better position to protect margins in 2026.